As homemakers, the concept of stewardship takes on a profound meaning. We are stewards of our home, our families, and the resources God has given us. We learn to manage these blessings wisely, to use them to nurture, to create, and to bless others. This responsibility, while challenging, is a valuable and honored role in God's plan. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Jamie and today I wanted to talk to you about the value of a homemaker. So this is all through the perspective of Christian homemaking, and I hope you find it comforting and enlightening. So if you've got some laundry to fold, some dishes to do, put on this in the background and join me. We are going to go through zone 1 in FlyLady, and I'll talk a little bit about the method as well as I'm going through the steps. So zone 1 is the front porch, the dining area and the hallway, and if you do find this motivating or interesting, then please let me know, give this video a like, and I will make more in the coming zones. In a world filled with expectations and stereotypes, finding value as a woman, particularly as a homemaker, can be daunting. We find ourselves constantly comparing to the Instagram perfect mothers, the career-driven female leaders, the supermoms who seem to have it all. But the truth is, our value doesn't lie in societal standards or worldly accomplishment. It lies in who we are and who we are meant to be. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." I've previously found myself in a situation where I felt pressured to pursue a career outside the home, even if it means sacrificing time with my family. And I'm almost back in that situation currently. So for this time around, I want to share what I've been doing, saying, and praying in this situation in case you are there too. The first thing I would say is to trust in God's plan for your life and to seek His guidance. Pray for wisdom to discern His will and the strength to resist conforming to societal expectations. Remember that your value lies not in worldly achievements, but in fulfilling God's purpose for you as a homemaker. This is by no means meant to offend anybody, and it's definitely not meant to make anybody feel less whether you are choosing to work in the home or outside the home. I am simply sharing my journey on here and things that I am thinking of and praying about recently. I've been in this situation. I have worked most of my life outside of the home, and I am currently finding that my personal journey has brought me to living and being and nurturing within my home. And I would love to talk more about creating the home economy in the future. But today I just want to share a few things about the value of being in the home, and that started with stepping into faith for me. So I am a relatively new Christian, and I would say this journey has been for the past 3 or so years, but I would definitely still say that it's all new and I'm learning every single day, and by God's will I will continue to learn every single day moving forward. So I want to talk about stepping into faith and what that kind of looked like for me. When I first encountered Christianity, it was like stepping into a new world. I was the only Christian in my household, and it was a journey filled with prayer, with patience, and a lot of introspection. I had to prune out old habits and perspective and learn to see myself and my role through God's eyes. I learned to find solace in scripture and prayer, to find strength in my faith, and to see the value in my role as a homemaker. The book of Proverbs is so good. It's basically a book filled with proverbs and a lot of information and insights and really good food for thought. So if you've never read it, I suggest you dive in today. I would love to share Proverbs 3, 5, 6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Struggling to navigate your new faith while being surrounded by family members who may not share the same beliefs. Lean on God's strength and trust in His plan for your life. Pray for patience, understanding, and guidance as you strive to live out your faith amidst differing perspectives. Seek support from a church community or Christian friends who can provide encouragement and guidance on your journey. With this, it's worth mentioning that you still have something called God's transformative grace. Embracing Christianity didn't just change my beliefs, it transformed my heart and mind. God's grace has a way of doing that as you walk in faith. God's grace showed me my true worth and value. His love and teachings gradually reshaped my thoughts, my actions, and my very being. I learned to see my role not as a mere homemaker, but as a nurturer, a provider, a pillar of strength and love for my family. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. When struggling with feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt as a homemaker, wondering if your efforts are truly making a difference, remember that God's grace is transformative and that He can bring beauty and purpose to every aspect of your life, including your role as a homemaker. Pray for God to reveal His purpose to your daily tasks and to help you see the impact you have on your family's well-being. Trust in His promise and that He is working for your good, even in the moments when it may not feel that way. So I want to continue to talk a little bit about the value of a homemaker in God's eyes, because I mentioned that big transformation happened when I started seeing my role through His eyes. As a homemaker, you are not just managing a household. You are building a sanctuary filled with love, warmth, and safety. You are providing for your family, nourishing them physically and emotionally. You are raising children, shaping them into good humans who will carry your teachings and love into the world. All these are invaluable in God's eyes. Proverbs 31:27 through 28 says, she watches over the affairs of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Feeling unacknowledged or undervalued in your role as a homemaker, with the demands of managing a household often going unnoticed. Remember that your worth and value as a homemaker come from God, not from the opinions or recognition of others. Pray for a heart of contentment and gratitude, even in the moments when your efforts may not be acknowledged. Trust that God sees and appreciates your dedication and selflessness in creating a loving and nurturing environment for your family. I know I spoke a little bit about hoping to continue to learn and walk in faith, but I want to also speak about the journey of growth and learning as a homemaker. Every day as a homemaker is a day of learning and growth. Learning to manage your home economy, to live frugally, to nourish your family, to provide a safe and loving space for your children. All these are valuable skills that are not just practical, but also spiritually enriching. Psalm 19:12 teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Two big key things in my role as a homemaker has been my struggle to manage finances and feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities of running a household. This is a big area where I have really brought these issues to God through prayer. Seek wisdom and guidance from God as you navigate the practical aspects of homemaking. Pray for discernment in managing resources and for creative solutions to stretch your budget. Remember that God is with you every step of the way, and He will provide the wisdom and strength you need to overcome any challenges. Through our difficulties in our role as a homemaker, we are laying the groundwork for a legacy to be passed down, and God has promises about legacies. God's promise for our lives is not just for us, but also for our children and the generations to come. The work we do at home, the love we pour into our families, the values we instill in our children, these are our legacy. These will shape the future, create lights in this world, and continue to spread God's love and teachings. One generation commends your works to another. They tell of your mighty acts. Psalm 145:4. As my children are growing up, they're not that old yet. They are currently 3 and 10. But I've been thinking about the legacy that we will leave in this world, the legacy for our children. And this was brought about by feeling uncertain about the impact I'm making in shaping the faith and values of my children. And to that, I just want to say that we need to trust in God's promise that the work we do in raising our children and instilling godly values in them will have a lasting impact. Pray for God's guidance in your parenting journey and for His grace to fill the gaps where you feel inadequate. Remember that your role as a homemaker extends far beyond the present moment as you are shaping the future generations and leaving a legacy of faith. The biggest thing that brought on this video and these thoughts today was because I wanted to talk about the value of our calling as homemakers. Our worth and value are not in what the world sees or expects of us. Our worth is in our calling, in what we can do, say, and pray. We are women of value because of who we are and who God has called us to be. We are homemakers, nurturers, providers, and above all, beloved children of God. And there is incredible value in that. 1 Peter 2:9 says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light." When struggling with feelings of insignificance or questioning the value of your role as a homemaker, remind yourself that you are chosen by God and your role as a homemaker is significant and valuable in His eyes. When faced with feelings of insignificance, remind yourself of the impact you have on your family's well-being and the ways in which you create a loving and nurturing environment. Speak affirmations of worth and purpose over yourself, declaring that you are fulfilling God's calling for your life. Pray for a renewed sense of purpose and for God to reveal the beauty and value in your role as a homemaker. Trust His love and affirmation, knowing that you are His special possession and that there is incredible value in who you are and what you do. One of the most profound changes I experienced was understanding the power and value of prayer. It's not just a way to ask for help or express gratitude. It's a way of aligning our hearts with God's. It's a way of seeking wisdom, strength, and guidance in our role as homemakers. Wisdom, strength, and guidance that is available to us. Through prayer, we can find peace in the midst of chaos, strength in the face of challenges, and joy in the simplest moments. Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. In our everyday lives, there can be moments of overwhelming stress, like when your kids are all sick at the same time or when the bills pile up and there seems to be no end in sight. It's in these moments when our hearts are heavy and our minds are filled with worry that we need to remember the power of prayer. It's great to pray when things are going well, but it's in these moments when our minds are occupied with all other things but prayer, with worry, with anger, with stress, with overwhelm, is when we need to be praying the most. Instead of letting anxiety take over, take a moment to pray, to present your worries to God, and to seek His peace. As homemaker, the concept of stewardship takes on a profound meaning. We are stewards of our homes, our families, and the resources God has given us. We learn to manage these blessings wisely, to use them to nurture, to create, and to bless others. This responsibility, while challenging, is a valuable and honored role in God's plan. 1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Being a steward is not always easy, especially when resources seem limited. For instance, when you need to stretch a single income to cover all needs and some wants for your family. However, remember that stewardship is not just about managing resources. It's about serving others with what we have. Whether you're preparing a meal, a simple meal, or creating a cozy home, you're serving your family with love. There is beauty in humility, there is beauty in simplicity, and although I do make a lot of content on simplicity and decluttering and homemaking, it all goes together. In a world that often values complexity and grandeur, finding beauty in humility and simplicity is transformative. These qualities are not only valuable, but they also bring us closer to God. Through simple acts of service, through humble acceptance of our roles, we can experience profound joy and fulfillment. 1 Corinthians 1:27 says, "For God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong." In the mundane tasks of homemaking, like doing laundry or cleaning up after meals, it's easy to feel overlooked or undervalued. But remember, God sees and values your humility and simplicity. He takes delight in your service, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem to the world. The role of women are found in God's plan. Our roles as homemakers are much more than meets the eye. We are not just maintaining a house, we are nurturing futures, shaping souls, and creating an environment where love, faith, and values can thrive. This role, though often overlooked, is part of God's divine plan. Our work contributes to the bigger picture, and that makes it not just valuable, but priceless. Proverbs 31:10. She is worth far more than rubies. There will be times when you may feel unappreciated or insignificant, especially in a society that often undervalues the role of a homemaker. However, remember that in God's eyes, you are worth more than rubies. Your role in shaping and nurturing your family is a divine calling, and it has eternal implications. Through that realization, the transformation may continue. We continue to learn, we continue to grow, yes, but the journey doesn't end here. As we continue to grow in our roles, our faith, and our understanding of God's love, we will continue to see changes. We will continue to learn, to be pruned, and to be transformed. Because that's what God's love does. It's a transformative force that never stops working in us, and it never stops working through us. And with each passing day, as we fulfill our roles as homemakers, we become more and more valuable in God's eyes. In essence, our value is not defined by the world, but by our Creator. We are of immense worth because we are His creation, tasked with nurturing, loving, and serving our families. As homemakers, our value is not found in what we do, but in who we are in God's eyes, cherished, loved, and forever valuable. Second Corinthians 3:18 says, "And we all who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory are being transformed into His image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit." Each day brings new challenges and opportunities for growth. Whether it's learning to manage a tight budget better, striving to be more patient with your children, or finding joy in the mundane, remember that God is constantly working within us. You are being transformed day by day, molded into His image with ever increasing glory.